Welcome to MCN. So this is the first look of the Cove 800 Rally Pro, which is a brand new bike to the market. It hasn't actually been launched in the UK yet. It's been launched elsewhere around the world, and I think it's an exciting bike, and it's an exciting addition to that middleweight adventure bike class. The reason I'm excited about it is basically comes down to the spec of the bike. So it's coming in at 185 kilos wet, that's with 20 litres of fuel, 95 brake horsepower. You've got TFT dash, 21-inch front, 18-inch rear. It's very much in that class with bikes such as Tenere 700, KTM 890, etc. in terms of the spec. KTM's made, and the Desert X even slightly more powerful, but you know, very much in that ballpark. The weight is significantly lighter, as you probably gathered, 185 kilos wet. All of those other bikes are over 200 kilos wet. So they've made a real weight saving. And I guess the really impressive thing is that the price of the bike is £8,495, which with anyone that's done their research who's looking at a bike in that market will know that that is significantly cheaper than the competition essentially. So we are hoping to get a ride of the bike in the next couple of weeks. Like I say, these are literally the first bikes in the UK, and I've sat on it, I've heard it, I've started it up, you know, it sounds good, it feels good, it feels, you know, for that middleweight section, I've done quite a lot of miles on that in that middleweight class, and you do notice that weight saving, which that's quite a big thing for me. You know, I'm not the biggest guy, and when you get on some of these bikes, they do feel heavy. The Tenere's obviously got a bit of a reputation for being quite top heavy because the fuel tank's quite high. KTM not so much, because obviously the fuel tanks are low, so that's quite a well balanced bike. But I think it's very much destined to shake up that middleweight class because the specs are comparable, it's lighter, and it's significantly cheaper. Right, so quick walk around, starting at the front. You've got 21-inch front wheel, obviously tubeless, as you can see from the spokes, looks kind of quite BMW GS. Pirelli SCR tyres, which are a proven tyre, same tyre that the Tenere comes on. Teisco calipers, which are essentially a Chinese version of Nissan 4-piston calipers. And up front, fork-wise, you've got 48mm KYB fully adjustable suspension front fork. So with all your adjustability at front, at the top rather. So that's pretty good spec, as I'm sure you agree. It's quite an interesting look, and the front, headlights, etc. Decent screen. I mean, non-adjustable, but there's obviously, as all bikes come to market, obviously accessories appear. All this is completely standard, so crash bars are standard. We've got quite a nice TFT dash here, which I'll just switch on with some nice graphics to go with, and a pretty simple menu system. So you've got the big rev counter there, obviously speed in the middle, you've got gears, and then you've got rider mode, and then you're just a case of scrolling through. So you can go into rider mode, you've got sport and eco, and then you can go down to your ABS. So you can, unlike a lot of bikes, you can have it on full ABS, you can turn off the front ABS and the rear ABS. So you can do the option to just shut off the rear, or you can turn it all off. And then you've also got traction control options and also connectivity to your phone. So kind of everything you would want there. Like I covered, 20-litre tank. Engine-wise, I think you'll agree, it's very compact. It looks neat, you know, given that it's an 800cc engine, and very, very light clutch as well. Cable-operated clutch, but it's one finger. Reasonably good pegs, and they've got rubber inserts which can be taken out for off-road. I mentioned before, it sounds good. Suspension-wise as well, at the rear, you've got KYB fully adjustable rear shock and 18-inch rear wheel, again tubeless, and obviously being 18-inch, you've got plenty of options if you want to go down that more off-road route. The rack also is standard. It's a pretty well finished bike. I guess the only things that it doesn't have, I think, is probably an easier thing to do in terms of the competition. Something like the KTM or the Desert X will come with a quick shifter up and down. Tenere doesn't. This doesn't have a quick shifter. up and down. The only other thing, just sitting on the bike, my heel was sort of hitting the exhaust, but again, you know, that's obviously where the cat sits. You know, there's small issues, if you like, of small things, and I guess being super critical from looking at it from an off-road point of view, currently the standard bash plate doesn't extend to cover the end of the rear linkage. But I guess my point is that these are all parts of the bike that could be easily resolved through the aftermarket industry. So I think, yeah, like I say, I'm impressed with the spec. So sitting on the bike, it genuinely feels light for that class of bike. So I can get my feet on the ground quite comfortably, seat height of 875, not overly tall. And it feels good. The position feels right. When we had it on the stand, I've been standing up on the bike and it feels well balanced. It feels a comfortable place to be. I think that screen's going to be reasonable. I guess like all these sort of adventure bikes none of them are particularly aerodynamic or have very good ergonomics from that point of view. Like I say, that screen's not adjustable, but there will be options, I'm sure, for a taller screen or some sort of deflector, should you need it. We obviously haven't done any motorway miles or anything like that. Yeah, I obviously mentioned, you know, it's a parallel twin like every bike in that class, but I mean, I think that sounds pretty reasonable, pretty good to be perfectly honest for a road legal bike with a standard can. So all in all, I think it's a bike that's very much going to shake up the market and genuinely can't actually wait to get a go on it, and that should be quite imminent. I think it's an important bike and I think it's quite a key bike for this market, and like I said, a great addition to the marketplace. We're going to get a first ride on it where we'll get to grips with it, take it on road, do some decent miles, and more importantly, take it off road. And then obviously it's sort of crunch time where we'll put it up against the competition and we'll see how it fares against, you know, the 890, Tenere 700, Desert X, Aprilia 660. You know, they're the bikes that I'd like to see it up against. So yeah, watch this space.